Alright guys, I got my hair done. Blends. It makes it easier to blend it all.
So my advice is
Getting ready to leave the shop after a 10-hour day. This is Tiffany at Sophisticuts. Thanks for watching. Right, so don't mind all the cars driving by, but first of all, I was going to talk about you have to prep your skin first. So these are oil-free cleansing towelettes, and I have the rose water. Super beautiful packaging, just the equate. So I'm just gonna make sure you have clean skin first. So let's go ahead and do that first, even though, I mean, I get oily skin, and my neck too. I like to blend my foundation all the way down. So if you're not fresh out of the shower, just use one of those. And then you want to go ahead and use like a good moisturizer, which I have this mini one in my makeup kit, the Hemp's moisturizing. So I'm just gonna add a tiny little bit, and that'll do the trick. And just put that all over, because you want to have good healthy skin, and if you drink water, that's gonna help your complexion too. I know a lot of people don't like to drink water. I drink water all the time, especially eating healthy and working out. I'm like always thirsty. I'll straight up be chugging a whole bottle of water before I do somebody's haircut. Because I'll be moving around and get hot while I'm working. So then I have a rose water toning spritz. So I'm just going to shake this up and do a light little spray, and kind of, that helps prep it too. Everybody has their own ways and what they like, so as long as you like prep your skin, it's gotta cool off, and you want to do like a good makeup swatch, and sometimes I'll use like a bronzer, like a fake big type of thing, or go tanning. And then you just want to make sure you're changing your foundation color up and make sure that matches as the year goes on. So let's see. Sometimes you can just go ahead and like blend your foundations, which is like a normal artistic thing to do anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I have been inside the past couple weeks. I have not been able to go anywhere because I got the C word, and I do not like that. So I just went ahead and put 2 different shades on there. I don't want to look like a ghost either. I'm using my natural lighting from outside, so I'm just got you propped up by my bedroom window. So you can use these kind of brushes, which is kind of nice too, or I'm just gonna go ahead and use this blender. So technically I can kind of just blend this on my skin. Just apply it, and it's always tricky whenever you have a freaking nose ring too. And I don't have a ring light at home, so that's gonna have to change. I do have a mini one I could have brought home from the shop. I usually like to use like the big ring light, so I can really see up close. Because this is really hard to do actually. But so we did actually get my beauty blender wet, but wrung the water out because that's supposed to help, I guess, the foundation from soaking into the beauty blender. But if you use a beauty blender, you can make sure you're not wiping it off. If you do a bunch of tapping, that's supposed to help keep it nice and blended. But, you know, around the edges, I kind of like to just kind of blend it out. So, looks great. You can always go back after you're done with your makeup and clean your little nose ring off. it's really hard to go around those, and it's not fun when you accidentally rip it out. So next up, I can use this concealer. I'm using half unique products because I had bought a kit from them, and they actually have really good makeup. But I didn't get into selling it, but I probably should. But, or some kind of makeup. And so I have half of that and then half like drugstore makeup, which I actually found some really good stuff. This Incognito concealer, Mega Last Wet n Wild All Day Full Coverage. Yeah, so if you look for stuff that says full coverage, yeah, it will definitely do the trick. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this on my hand too that I previously washed off. And this is a really good application to apply it straight to your skin though, because it really likes to stick to the skin. So technically I can go ahead with the Beauty Blender, or I'm just gonna go ahead and use this little brush too. Yeah, or you could just apply it right to the brush really, but so people always do like these crazy looking shapes on their faces. And it's really cool because it does show you like a guideline of where it needs to go. I like to kind of dust it over my eyeshadow and my eyelids. So my eyeshadow will stick better. Okay, so do like a little bit down there. Ring lights are way better to use than even natural lighting. Alright, so you want to put it under your eyes. You can put it everywhere you want highlighted. So on the tip of your nose, right here. And obviously everybody has different features, so you're going to want to put it on different parts of your face. Alright, so next up, I'm going to go ahead and use a translucent setting powder. And that's really, I actually found this Photo Focus Wet n Wild one too. Like, this stuff works really great. So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to want to use a big brush. So, it's like a lot. It's going to kind of, technically I could dump some of this into the lid and like wipe the lid off. And they say that this is like the baking part. So technically you could like seriously just this is crazy to me to just put that much on there. Like, it's a lot. It just wants to fall everywhere, but technically that's what you're supposed to do. You want it to set, and that's a lot. So it's just kind of funny to me because there's so much product. So technically, you want to let that sit a few minutes. So I just waited about a minute. That's about all I can do. And just kind of dust that on. It's translucent, but it does brighten it up where you want it brightened up. So you have to keep that in mind. Alright, so next up, I had this sculpting trio, and I like to use this sculpting brush. So I like to contour with this one, and then you can kind of like bronze your skin up a little bit, and I like to do this for the highlighting too. So I'm just gonna dig this right into the dark one. And technically you could do the translucent powder after you do this, but I'm working around the powder anyway, and then I'm gonna put more more on. So yeah, if you go like this, you can see better, and it's kind of hard to do. I'm just using my phone because normally you would want to use better lighting. I mean, this is really good lighting too, but definitely harder to do like so. And then I want to bring it down right here. like if you have a really big square forehead, you would want to round out the top of the edges, but I have more of a round face shape, so sometimes I do that a little bit just to blend it into my hairline. So technically I can kind of do that a little bit. And I can just use this brush to work it in. And then I do like to go under my jaw here until I lose about 10 more pounds maybe. So I'm just gonna make sure we just do the sides here. And this is a cream, so it is kind of harder to work with than just a powder. But you can go ahead and use your brush to blend that in more. I promise I'm better when I'm just looking in the mirror. Alright, so then I'm gonna go ahead and use this one and do some highlighting. You can see Aubrey in the background. Okay. Alright, here, sit over there, please. And this is my highlighter too. There's a medium one in here. It's a powder. And it's darker than the highlighter. So I'm like, I assume they just do that to kind of blend it all together. And set it more. I like to kind of blend that down into my neck. So sometimes you can just, I like to kind of do the darker in here too sometimes. You can do that. And just kind of blend everything. So I'm gonna hop on back over to a powder. And I just have this one. It's kind of like a mixture. So bronzing is just, it's not contouring, it's just adding a little bit more color to your face. So I'm just gonna kind of dust this in, and that'll kind of help blend everything together. And I did watch some makeup educating videos before filming this, so it's a little more fresh in my mind. And my normal daily go-to makeup, I would more so just use like bronzer. I have another one that's like a little bit straight, more darker colored. So I would use that to contour with. Alright, so next up, technically I can go ahead and, I actually found this highlighter. This one works so good. It's got a skull on there for like Halloween. But it's gold and it is beautiful and it works like super good. So I'm gonna use my big brush again. Just gotta work a little bit in there, and it is a ton of gold. So you want to put that on the top here too. And down your nose. If I'm not using a small brush, I'll just squeeze this together to go straight down my nose. This is like a quick little tip. And then I do like to put a little bit of the highlighter or bronzer down there too. Alright, so next up I have the Moodstruck Minerals Pressed Blush. And it's very pink. So I just use a little bit. And I'll just go ahead and use like more of a round brush. So I just kind of tap it in there. And kind of do a little bit. Like there's a lot of pigment in these, so you don't need a ton. So technically what you can do before you put any powder on is go through and contour. You can contour with concealers, you can use lighter and darker concealers, or you can use the cream foundations. But basically, if you go in and contour with a liquid, you can go back and contour with the powder on top of that, and that's going to give you more of like your formal all day long last. Unless you have like the best makeup in the entire world. You can comment that below what your favorite makeup lines are. So I also found a drugstore contouring palette, and this thing is huge. And I guess technically I could go ahead and use this also. I already put the I mean, this is really good to contour. You can layer it to give it a darker look so your pictures will pop up more professionally also. I don't need to do that right now though. So next up, we're gonna do eyeshadow. And typically, I don't need to do my eyebrows because they're already darker. I can kind of go over that quickly though. I would use a brush like this though. And if you don't have a pencil, you can definitely use eyeshadow. Okay. If you don't want black eyelids. See, I think the trick that I found out is because if you don't want your eyebrows to look too dark, do not go straight for a dark or even a dark brown or medium brown. I would go in for like a lighter color and work your way towards the darker colors depending on what you want, how dark you want your eyebrows to look. So even for me, I could just do this medium shade, and that's, I'll show you, like if I use that dark and a lot of it, it's gonna make my eyebrows look like black. So even just using a tiny little bit, especially because this is the Moodstruck Addiction palette, like these are totally worth it. I think if they're not on sale, they might be like around $70, but they always have like makeup bundles. But these, like, seriously, I've had it for over a year, so it's totally worth the purchase. So there are good drugstore buys. You might run through them quicker, you may not, but eyeshadows like this is totally worth buying. But and it comes with a handy little close-up mirror. So let's see. So you want to have this pointy looking one. You can kind of put it in and do like strokes if you don't have a pencil. I do have like a pencil thing too though. But yeah, so obviously you can see I didn't even use the darkest one, and it's definitely making my eyebrows look like pretty dark. And like you can just go back through and like gently wipe over that and get some of that off if you don't want all of the color. And it stays on there pretty well because once you put it on there and you do strokes, but I mean you can get it off there a little bit. But that eyeshadow works really well. It's like a all day lasting eyeshadow also. So also one of the ladies at my shop, she does microblading. So if your eyebrows are not perfect, she can even fill in certain areas and give you a super natural look. So you just want to go with like a nice little arch, your natural shape, whatever you got going on. That's pretty much what I like to stick with, especially when I'm like waxing people's eyebrows too. Alright, so I'm doing pretty good looking that far away. I didn't think about how I could just use this little mirror up close. And I did a pretty good job on blending everything. And I'll have to get I'll have to take some before and after, well, I'll have to take some after photos. How about that? I didn't take any before, but I can do that tomorrow. Nah, we'll just go with that. Alright, so I did get these cute new brushes, and they were like eco-friendly or something like that. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it exactly, but I just love how they were like natural looking. Alright, I tried to get my stupid light out of here. Oh well. Now let's go this. Yeah. Here we go. Alright, so I'm gonna do like a fall look. I got my cute little fall shirt on. Loving it. So I'm gonna go ahead. I already kind of prepped my eyelid earlier with some concealer. So that's kind of nice. That'll help the eyeshadow stick on there better. And everybody does this differently. So I would just go ahead and kind of start with my lighter color. So this one's kind of like shimmery, the lightest one right here. And I'll go ahead and put that on the inner corner and kind of blend that out. And the top right underneath my eyelid and kind of blend that down. I mean, technically you could just kind of layer it all on there. Just put it all on all over. That's like the easiest thing to do. And then you can make sure it all like blends. It makes it easier to blend it all. That's why I've gone through the lightest color the most. And you could use like a like a base, like to set your eyeshadow before you're working on it. If that makes sense. I'm just kind of rambling some stuff. Alright, so next up, how's about I do something fun? I got this cute little palette and all sorts of fun, pretty colors. You can kind of see. I don't know how to make that focus better, but there's some shimmers in there. So let's see. Okay, I'm gonna readjust my mirror here. I have to do this at home because I have been quarantining for too long. So I'm gonna go ahead and try like this orangey glittery color. So I'm gonna do that as like my medium color, and this stuff goes a long way. I'm gonna use my mirror right in front of you, which is kind of cool because you can't really see it. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of tap that all over. You can swipe or tap, whatever. Just kind of do both. But that is a nice shade right there. That's really pretty. So if you're unsure of how your eyeshadow is gonna set, you could just start with tapping it on at first, because sometimes like they'll be way too dark and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I blend that? So you could, I mean, you could lightly tap it on just to see, because it looked like it would be a little darker, but that's a good in-between like blending shade. It's very bronzy, so that's pretty to go with my shirt. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do like the red. It's like a straight red, and then I'm gonna go through and mix it a little with I'm gonna mix it with a brown, and then that'll match my shirt even more. So I'm just gonna do the tip of my brush with this, and I'm gonna do that as my darker color, so in the crease in the outer corner area. So you can lightly work it in just to get a feel of it, because it's straight red. And I also put that lighter color on first. So if you don't put the lighter color on and you do want it to be darker, it'll be darker. But if you're unsure, you can always start out lighter and just keep layering it on. All these are blending really good too. So you can do the crease and kind of bring it in more and blend with that middle shade. But technically you could put some eyeliner and mascara on and call it a day, but I'm gonna go ahead and mix it with my darker brown and do a little bit of that too, because it's really pigmented. So So yep, and I'm gonna mix it together. And then you can even go back through and add more red on top of that. But yeah, I'm really digging that mixed together. And I barely used any of the brown because it's so pigmented. And that's the unique shadow palette. Moodstruck Addiction 4, to be exact. So yeah, just kind of going in like little circular motions a little bit and kind of swiping through the crease. If you want to, you can blend that down a little bit. Just take a tiny little bit of the dark and you can do that as your eyeliner. I always like to do that because it gives it like my natural look. And then you can take it under here. I prefer to do my under eye this way instead of putting the straight black eyeliner on there, because unless you use a what is this? I'm trying to read what this is. Unless you use a liquid eyeliner and it's waterproof, like a lot of black eyeliners like to just freaking smear onto your under eye, and that's not cute. So it's just easy for me to go through with this little brush under there and try not to get the powder in your eye. I mean, sometimes you can't really help it. But these are like some natural, I love to go with like natural looking colors most of the time. I am gonna go ahead and do a fun Halloween makeup tutorial. So be on the lookout for that next. And so pretty much everything's nice and blended. Technically, you can go through with another brush and just blend your dark shade into your light shade up there. And that's a clean brush too. So that is that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use, let's see, this is my daily eyeliner for myself. And it is, I like to use just the straight black, and it makes my eyes pop more. I like Colors Auto Eyeliner. I like to get the kind that I don't have to sharpen because sometimes those just suck. But I like the kind that twists up. Alright, so I'll just kind of line my top lid with it by the, you know where it goes. A lot of the time I like to just hold this straight out, and that creates a flat line for you to draw on. And if you are not good at that, you can take your tiny little brush and you can smudge that in, and that will blend it in even more for you. You can also you can also go back through with your dark eyeshadow and like put a top coat on there so it won't go anywhere. So you're kind of like setting your eyeliner, because this is a cream eyeliner too. And I'm getting blinded by the sun right now. I'm glad I quit smoking like mainly 3 months ago, because I did get COVID, unfortunately, and I'm very healthy. I eat healthy most of the time. I had been working out all the time until I had to quarantine, and then it wasn't fun, but it's like my lungs are a little, it's like it tests your lungs, that's for sure. So I haven't been talking as much, and I definitely haven't been working out. So I did actually do some 5-minute workouts a couple of times. But mainly you have to rest, so. It's like taking it slow to get back to normal is probably a better idea. I think it was probably my second time actually getting COVID. The first time was in January of last year. I like get my years mixed up, I guess. I'm like, when did it start? It seems like it was a while ago, honestly. But the second time around, it was definitely like different symptoms, more like sinuses. I definitely lost my ability to smell, which is not great. And sometimes you just gotta ask other people around you, like, make sure nothing smells funny, because you're gonna breathe it in no matter what, and you won't even be able to tell if something smells bad. I can't even smell my dang perfume. Like, it's like I can breathe out of my nose, but it's stuffed up still because I can't smell. I feel like it's still all stuffed up, but I stopped taking my allergy medicine a couple days ago just to see if I could handle it without it. But yeah, it's all craziness. Alright, so then you gotta have a fabulous mascara. I would tend to go to Walgreens and get the drugstore kind. Sometimes I'll go splurge at Ulta, but this works pretty good. The Rocket Volume Express. Maybelline does have some good ones. Sometimes not, but this one works pretty good. And you can also layer it too before it dries, but you can go through with a couple coats. You definitely want to like apply it as close to your bottom of your lashes at first and kind of wiggle the product on, and that makes it darker closer to your eye. So I'll kind of like wiggle that on and then go back through on top and like swirl it on there. I have naturally long eyelashes, so I don't have to worry about and they kind of curve up on their own anyway, so I don't have to worry about the eyelash curler thing. So I guess technically you could do your eyelash curler and then put this on. Or also, I do have an eyelash primer. If you put that on, you definitely have to wait like a whole minute before applying the mascara. So technically they say you should dip your wand back in the tube, but I mean, let's be real, there's still a bunch of product on there. So yeah, as long as there's product coming off, use the dang thing. Save you a couple bucks. I don't know, maybe it'll last a week longer or two. And of course, everybody does that differently too. Like, you know, whatever floats your boat, whatever's easier for you. There's so many different techniques out there. You can choose whatever you'd like. All right. So then you could just do your top lashes if you want. Some people actually have really short ones, and it's really hard to even get that mascara on there without touching your face because they're so short. But I like to put it on because I do have some that are longer. My bottom lashes might be, or actually they are longer than a lot of people's top lashes. So thank you, Lord, for blessing me with those. Something funny I did when I was a kid. Somebody had told me that if you trim your eyelashes, they'll grow back thicker and longer, but mine were, I actually did snip them, and I mean, obviously they grow back because they're always falling out and grow back, but kids don't do that at home. Alright. So sometimes you just gotta work with them and like make sure you're like twisting and not applying like too much in one spot. So that's that. And be on the lookout for my hair tutorial coming up next. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, it is Tiffany. I am coming at you with a makeup tutorial. Just want to do something fun for fall. I got a cute shirt, so I wanted to match my makeup. Thanks for watching, and if you need a hair appointment, please book online with me at sophisticutsbarbershop.com. Thanks for watching.